Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a whip and chat for you, but before we get into all of that, if you are new here, hi! Welcome, my name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content from time to time, and I would love if you would like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express, let's all be friends. If you've been here before, hi! Welcome back, thanks for coming you guys. Before I get into what I'm doing here, I just want to say a few things. Hi! If you have been around, you're probably like, holy crap, she's back. Yes, so I have not posted a whip and chat in a couple months. To be completely honest with you, and I'll go over all of this in this video, I have crafted, like twice in the last 2 months. So it's kind of hard to do a whip and chat if I have nothing to be whipping on. And I will go over all of that, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who has reached out to me or left sweet comments or whatever it may be. Moving forward, I still can't promise you guys consistency. That's just the way life is. I thought my kid would be in school, things would be easier, but then life had a million other curveballs. So I'm just going to do the best I can, and that is the best I can do. But I do want to say, moving forward, the videos that you guys are going to see are going to be a mixture of things that I recorded a couple months ago and never posted for one reason or another, and things that I recently recorded and unboxed and things like that. So you guys will see this, and then later this week you will see, depending on how I schedule them, you'll probably see one older unboxing and one new unboxing. I just want to kind of address that because, like, I did this whole video on the cutest little summer kit ever that I fully intended on being my summer kit. But then summer was like, hold my beer. And I just never posted it for some reason. And then I realized I have been talking about my Mama Mochi unboxing from Diamond Artisan for literally months. And I never posted it. I never made it live and I don't know why. Like, that just was a total brain fart on my part. So I am just kind of addressing all of that. Anyway, you guys are probably like wondering, like, where have you been? What have you been up to? Why have you gone MIA? You guys, I was so excited to sit down and tell you guys about my big trip with the tiny human. And if you guys are new here, I'll try to catch you guys up as quick as possible. And if you are new here, I hope that you stick around. I know there are other creators out there who can promise much more consistency than I can. And I know that can be frustrating for some people when they really fall in love with a creator. But at the end of the day, no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter, like, if you're referencing me or somebody else that you're watching on YouTube, everybody who creates content, whether it's like small scale like I do or like millions of viewers, we are real life people with real world and real life experiences and real life problems and all of that. And there have been moments where I'm like, man, I feel terrible. I wish that I could put something out there for everybody. And then I'm also often reminded of, like, you're doing the best that you can and you're a real life person, and the people who love and care about you, they're still going to love and care about you if you disappear. And they're still going to love and care about you when you return. So that being said, hi guys. I've missed you all. I really have. You may have noticed I put up an unboxing the other day. I put up a Diamond Artisan kit. Huge thank you to Brandy for always sending me things to unbox for you guys. One thing that I love is that Brandy is, like, here no matter what, no matter whether I am consistently posting content or not. She is still reaching out to me and wanting me to be somebody who helps promote her brand. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, I will link the Diamond Artisan playlist. I have done multiple unboxings and post reviews for Brandy. I said this, I feel like I say this a lot, but I feel like it kind of just goes over some people. Like, I yes, I do get things sent to me from Brandy. And I am always appreciative. And I always tell you guys in a video if this was sent to me. I have never been asked once from Brandy ever to do a post review or to make any additional content or anything like that. All I've been asked was, hey, if I send you this, could you unbox it for me? And I do. I've unboxed a ton of kits that she sent me. I've also, on my own, purchased my own kits because I absolutely love what she's putting out there, and her quality is, in my opinion, top notch. Now, she has a drop going on right now. You guys, if you don't follow her, please follow her because I feel like this is a love letter to Brandy, but I feel like she's putting out some really great art, and I feel like she's so underrated and so many people don't have a clue about her. But she just put up another drop this week, and I have one kit being sent to me, and I messaged her to make sure that I didn't purchase what she was sending me because I've done that before. And she is sending me a kit, and then I purchased 2 kits. So I'm getting 3 separate kits from this most recent drop to share with you guys. And I think it says a lot when the person is spending their own money to purchase items and not just, hey, this was sent to me, I'll do an unboxing. Anyway, let me get into like what I've been up to, where I've been, all of that fun stuff. I hope you guys are all doing well. Okay, so in July, I took my tiny human to Chicago. If you guys don't know, I have a kiddo. She's in first grade this year. Whoa, I almost just said kindergarten, you guys. I can't believe that we're a couple months into first grade already. It has been like a whirlwind this year. But we had a lull in my schedule between her activities and camps and my husband, his schedule. Oh, hold on, I have to sneeze. Woo, glad I did that off camera. Anyway, let me rewind real quick. And if you are new here, yes, I am always all over this place. All over the place. Anywho, my husband works retail, but he works retail that is associated with an amusement park. So for him, his busy season is when it is park season. So unlike previous retail positions my husband held, Christmas time is not his busy time of year. So I looked at his schedule and I found this time. He was crazy busy. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity and I am going to do something extra special with my kiddo. And I did. I planned a trip to Chicago. Never been to the city before. I hopped on a plane with my 6-year-old child and flew across the country. And this is the first time that I have traveled as the lead adult ever. Like anytime I've ever flown anywhere else, I've had another adult with me, or I was the child and I had adults with me. So, that was fun maneuvering, and we had the best time. You guys, we saw all the sights, we ate all the food, and we were only there for a couple days. My daughter is a figure skater, and her coach actually had taken one of her, other students to nationals, which was in Boston this year. And so we just had this overlap of when we didn't have any learn to skate lessons. Her coach was out of town. We didn't have any camps going on. So we seized the opportunity and just made this super fun trip, just me and my kiddo. And I'm so glad I did it. I had such a good time. I always feel like, and I feel like I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I shouldn't say I feel like. I know I'm not the only one. But man, a vacation when you have children is not a vacation. No matter how much fun you're having, it's exhausting. And I am getting my way across the city. And I so intended on giving you guys this like totally updated everything we did. Let me tell you about it. And I think I did talk about it in my last webinar. That's how long it's been, you guys. That was July that we went. And it is now October. In fact, when you guys see this, it's not the day that I've recorded it, but my husband and I just had our 12th wedding anniversary. And he sent me some beautiful flowers, you guys. I was totally surprised. You ever just like don't expect that those flowers sitting on your front stoop are for you? Or like, I had one of those moments. Like, legitimately, I opened the door and I was like, who the hell sent flowers? And I opened the door and I was like, who are these for? Now, my first instinct was, oh, they must have the wrong house. Why? I have no idea. And let me preface this by saying my husband is not the kind of guy that has never sent flowers. He sends flowers, like he's sent them just because, like he's sent them when he knows I'm having a hard time, or just to say, I appreciate you, or, you know, for a birthday, anniversary, something like that. So like, it wasn't out of the realm. Life has been so chaotic that I didn't even realize that it was our anniversary, despite the fact that my husband and I had just had this conversation the other day. So, that's where I'm at in life right now, in case anyone's curious. But anyway, fast forward to, we came home from camp, got back into the swing of things, and we had some camps and things like this. Now, my kiddo had camp at the Humane Society the week before she started first grade. This is when everything started to like go downhill for me. I shouldn't say started to be. Just a couple weeks before that, I had ended up in the emergency room. I was having trouble breathing. If you guys have ever heard any, I didn't have croup, but if you have ever heard anyone who like has that like croupy honking sounds when they're trying to breathe and cough, like that's what I sounded like, but I was constantly gasping for air. And I got to the point where my husband was actually scared. So, he was like, I'm going to take you to the emergency room. Okay, sure. So I went to the emergency room and they were like, "Oh, so we're pretty sure you have pneumonia." And I was like, "Cool, cool, cool, cool." Just a excuse me, a little fun fact about me is that I have asthma. I have activity induced asthma. I've had it since I was like a teenager. Which is funny because I had a appointment like a year ago, I guess, at the allergist. And they were like, "Oh, so we need to test your breathing, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "For what?" And they're like, "Well, you were diagnosed with asthma." And I was like, "Yeah, like 25, 30 years ago." And they were like, "Oh," for some reason they had it in their file that they diagnosed me. And I was like, "No, ma'am." Like, I'm not doing a breathing test. Like, I already know I have this and I know my fast acting inhaler works. Anyways, so I go to the hospital and my husband and this is the unfortunate when you don't have like, I don't have the kind of neighbors that I could just like knock on their door and be like, "Listen, you know, my husband's taking me to the hospital. Can you, you know, do you mind just keeping an eyeball on my kid," or anything like that. So, and it's always the middle of the night when I go to the hospital, right? Like, so they took me to the hospital. They went home and I was there all night. Turns out I did not have pneumonia, which thank God. But I did have a lovely upper respiratory infection and it just like took everything out of me. And I was like, "Oh, this is super fun," because you know, nobody thinks, you know what I want to do this week? I want to go to the emergency room. So that was super fun. And then like it was like I think 2 weeks later, I ended up in the emergency room again. Totally different thing. But when I say like this is how everything started going down. You guys, I am like, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this story now. That's how long it's been. Anyway, I was having these really, really, really intense pains shooting from the inside of my right shoulder blade down my arm. I couldn't sit comfortably. I couldn't lay down. I was having trouble sleeping. I was in the worst pain I've ever been in my life. Like literally labor felt like nothing compared to the level of pain that I was in. And it was constant. It was wincing. It was sharp. It was just so much. And I got to the point where, again, my husband said to me, I have to take you to the hospital. He's like, you should not be crying in this much pain, especially because I wasn't doing anything. And I said to him, I'm pretty sure that I have a pinched nerve and I don't think the hospital is going to be able to do anything. He's like, but I can't let you sit here like screaming. Like I was like scream, like visceral screams of pain. And I was like, cool, I guess this is what we're doing. And my daughter had already been at camp this week. Where we live, and this might just be like this area because I didn't grow up in this area. I swear there are no camps around here that are more than a week. Like there might be a camp every week at a certain facility, but they don't have like a 8-week program or a 4-week program. It's literally like 8 1-week programs and they're all different things, or maybe it's the same program every week. Anyway, so we ended up going to the emergency room and my daughter had camp in the morning. So it was, a very long night. And I was like, I don't want to do this to her. So after he took me to the hospital and I got seen pretty quickly that day because, when you have somebody just screaming in pain, they kind of go, okay, let's take care of this. But as I suspected, I did indeed have a pinched nerve. Not that the hospital told me this. Now, if you are somebody who works in the emergency room, maybe cover your ears. But I was angry. I was not happy with the level of care that I received or anything like that. I am the kind of person, let me just say this. I'm the kind of person that like I don't like taking any kind of like pain relief unless I feel like I absolutely need it. Like I'm one of those people, stupidly, one of those people who like I'll ride out a headache until I can't handle it anymore before I take, even a Tylenol or an Advil or whatever. And I went to the emergency room and they told me, oh, well, did you do any trauma? Did you fall? And I was like, no. And they're like, okay, so we're going to do no imaging. And I'm like, okay. And they were like, so we're just going to give you a bunch of medication and then we're going to send you on your way. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, it's not our job in the emergency room to determine the cause of whatever's going on. But we're going to give you a cocktail of a pain medication, a muscle relaxer, an anti-inflammatory. They wanted to give me some shot and I said, absolutely not. They did a patch instead, which literally rolled off my skin in minutes. So I was like, cool. And then they said, ortho, like orthopedics, will contact you if you don't hear back from them in 2 weeks, give them a call. I'm like, I'm sorry. You want me to sit here with no idea why I'm having pain or how to resolve the pain. You just want to throw medication at me and send me on my way. Now, keep in mind, I am not functioning as a human at this point. I am dealing with extreme pain and I was very upset because I feel like one would be. You're telling me, yeah, we acknowledge that you're in a lot of pain right now, but it's not really our problem. So they sent me on my way. They sent a prescription to my local Rite Aid for a pain medication, an anti-inflammatory, and a muscle relaxer. The hopes was that the muscle relaxer and the anti-inflammatory would work together, and whatever was going on in my shoulder, if those worked together, then I'd be able to have a little bit more movement, and then the pain medication would help with that. So Next morning, I wake up, and as soon as my chiropractor's office is open, I give them a call. And I am in tears. I'm saying, I'm begging for help. I'm in so much pain. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. And they said, "Can you come in today?" And I said, "Yes." So I did. And um, as I suspected, I pinched a nerve. I pinched a nerve in my C5, C6. And at the same time, I simultaneously pulled the muscles that wrap around from like the pec in the front all the way to the shoulder blade. And it's pulling my shoulder forward. And so everything is like locked in place. But because of the level of pain that I'm in, we can't do any kind of like muscle work to release it. So I get put into a very intense care plan where I am at the chiropractor's multiple days of the week for weeks. But in the very beginning, I was, as I mentioned, in so much pain that I could not function. I couldn't drive because I couldn't turn the steering wheel. The motion of moving my arm like that pulled at my shoulder. And when I tell you this pain was from the inside of my shoulder blade all the way down to my fingertips. When it first happened, I had my thumb, my forefinger, and half of my middle finger were completely numb. It just was a lot of things happening all at once. And unfortunately, my husband, he did take, I forget how many days off he took, but like he still had to go to work. And I know I talk about Erica a lot on my channel because we're friends. And she's a really great friend, and I'm really, really appreciative. She said to me, "Let me help you." So she came to my house for like 3 or 4 days while my kid was at camp. We drove Briar to camp. She would take me to my chiropractor. And then if I needed to run any kind of errand, she would go with me because I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't really do anything. And I'm very, very appreciative. So, Erica, if you're watching, thank you. But fun fact, I went to pick up my medication from CVS or Rite Aid, as one does when, you have a prescription filled. And I got 2 of the medications. I got the muscle relaxer and the anti-inflammatory. And I was told they couldn't fill the pain medication. And I said, "Okay." I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wonder why the hospital sent this over, And if you don't live in the United States, one thing you need to know is that our healthcare system is garbage, and insurance is a joke. Anywho, so after going back and forth with them for a couple days, they said, "Okay, well, we need to have the doctor, call it in or whatever." And I was like, "So here's the thing. I went to the emergency room. I don't have a way to contact that specific doctor." And they were like, "Oh, bummer." And so basically I got a hold of the hospital, called the hospital, got transferred around to, God knows how many people I spoke with. Then I finally got to somebody who connected me to, I guess, the on-call doctor in the emergency room, like whoever was there that day, who said that they would, contact Rite Aid and push the prescription through. Well, I never got it. Don't know. I don't know what the issue was, and I'm thankful that this wasn't like a life-saving medication because I dealt with this for I don't know how long, more than enough time than I think I should have dealt with it. And then I finally was just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So thank God I have the best chiropractor office in the world. They do, they have multiple chiropractors on staff, and they got me in right away and never made me feel like the pain that I was experiencing was... Sometimes people like to treat adults who are in pain like it doesn't hurt that much. You shouldn't be in pain. I was in so much pain that I couldn't even handle light touch to any of the areas. Now, keep in mind, while this is happening, my arm is riddled with knots. Some knots are protruding out of the skin, and you can see them. And other knots, you could feel them, and they were intense, and they were huge, and unfortunately, I couldn't withstand the kind of pressure you would need for somebody to work those knots out. So at our chiropractor's office, they have like the rehab team. So you're not just going and being adjusted, you're also working on stretches and exercises that would help. And in my instance, we started out doing cervical decompression, which is up at your neck, and it basically is stretching your head and your neck. And it felt great, but when they would get to a certain spot, it was actually sending shooting pain down my arm. So they changed the plan, and they actually said, let's work on doing stim on your back. So then I had the stim pads, which is like electric stimulation. And I would go in, I would get adjusted, I would have stim, I would do my stretches, do all of this. And we are talking about, I was like 3 days a week in the beginning, 4 days, 3 days a week, I think, maybe it might've been 4 days in the very beginning. And then it went to 3 days. And then they said to me, because I regularly see this chiropractor anyway, and I go for monthly maintenance, we're going to put you into a care plan. So it was a couple weeks of 3 days a week, and then a couple days of 2 days a week, and then 1 week of 1 day a week. And then when that ended, I actually, coincidentally, the next week was my regular maintenance appointment. So, and I will say our chiropractor's office, and if you're somebody who doesn't believe in chiropractics, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a firm believer in them. She changed my life, and I'm eternally grateful. But with everything that was going on, coincidentally, I had come up on my, hey, we need to get some imaging done to check, to compare to your x-rays from last year. I started seeing the chiropractor initially because I was having really bad pain in what I thought was my hip and my lower back. And then I was like, I wonder if this is sciatica. Turns out it was sciatica. And so I've been dealing with sciatic pain for God knows how long now. But they did x-rays in the beginning, and they compared them to the x-rays they just got right before I had sustained this injury. Now, when they did the initial x-ray this time around, I had already started feeling some discomfort in my shoulder, but it wasn't like excruciating pain the way it had fast forward. So what happened was and they knew this right away. They said, you sleep with something. You hold something. I said, I do. How do you know that? So they think that was the trigger for what sparked the pulled muscle is I sleep with a body pillow. And I was sleeping with it, as I do every night. And the physical motion of like wrapping my body around it is actually what initially pulled the muscles. And it just happens that everything happened all at the same time. It sucked. So anyway, they were looking at my x-rays, and they could see damage to my shoulder prior to this actually happening. So everything just happened all at once. They could see there's a huge gap between like the socket and the collarbone. And there were 3 things it could be. One of them would be muscle or tissue, which they wouldn't be able to tell if I have like a torn ligament or something like that. I'd have to get an MRI for that. You can only see so much on imaging on an x-ray. And one of the things was rotator cuff, and they were concerned that it might be. And I was like, great, like that's totally what I need on top of me not being able to function or drive or use my hand or do anything. So during this time, I wasn't able to like cook. I couldn't chop. I could barely do anything other than sit around and cry in pain, which might sound overly dramatic, but when you're in that level pain, you're just in survival mode. And it doesn't matter. I'm going to just say this. It doesn't matter if your pain is like chronic pain or if your pain is from an injury or if you think that one person has a reason to be in pain and you don't. You have every right to your pain is valid. And I'm just going to say that because I know some people don't. They believe that like, well, if you didn't have an injury, then you shouldn't be complaining that it hurts so much. There are other people out there who are going through so much worse. There are. You know what? But your situation, no matter who you are, is going to be worse off than someone else's. That's just the way life is. Anyway, tangent. And sorry, I was trying to figure out what color I wanted to work on. I don't think I'm going to have enough of this color. If you guys didn't know, I don't know when the last time I mentioned it, I ran out of a color in this kit like a while ago, and I have a feeling I'm about to run out of another one, which does not make me happy. Anyway, so super long story short, I just kind of like laid around my house because I couldn't do anything. I could not function as an adult with everything that was going on. So turns out not rotator cuff because I've been able to, the range of motion has been great and they've been very happy with that. But whatever's going on with like the shoulder, like that part, it wasn't really the reason that like I was in pain. You know, everything is just coincidental. So, this happened in August. And it is now October, and I am now starting to feel a little bit better. I'm back to driving. I am able to do a little bit more. I still have numbness in my hand. So, you know, the act of actually diamond painting isn't the most comfortable. And then on top of that, I I feel like, you know, that scene in The 40-Year-Old Virgin where he's like, if you don't use it, do you lose it? Like, that's how I feel about my abilities as a diamond painter. Like, not that I am sitting here trying to be boastful, but I feel like I diamond paint. Oftentimes people would say to me, like, I diamond paint really quickly, which I don't think I diamond paint really quickly. I think I diamond paint, like, fast enough. But again, it's not a competition, but I only recently have been able to actually like put a pencil or diamond painting pen or anything like that into my hand for grip. Because I still can't. So if you see the difference here, this is my hand. That's fine. My nails are crazy long, so don't mind that. I can close my hand all the way. So I still can't get my hand. I can get it down, but I can't get it all the way. And I still have, it's not like complete like numbness. Like I can feel that I'm touching it, but it's numbness in the sense of like pins and needles kind of numb, but all the time. And it's on both sides of my hand. It's been a lot. And so I actually went to craft night, I guess that was like 2 weeks ago now. And I worked on a little ornament, which I think is right here. Hold on, let me. Oh God, everything's gonna fall on my desk next to me. I did this little Wizardy ornament, like double-sided tape on wood. Interestingly enough, they provide you with the double-sided tape that's cut out in the exact shape, and then you have to place it on the wood, and then you also have to take the paper off, which, okay. Like, do we not have the technology for you guys to put that on there? I don't know. So all of this is going on, and I am dealing with the pain and the inability to, like, do all the things. And then where is that symbol? There it is. I know I just had it. The wall. You guys, I feel like I'm just like whining and complaining. While all of this is happening, as I mentioned, I have these insane knots in my arm, and they shifted, and then I got a bunch stuck around my elbow, and they just wrapped around my elbow. So I'm dealing with all of that. I am having my husband put magnesium cream on me every single night. Sometimes I'm doing it multiple times a day. And one of the chiropractors said to me, we want to work towards you being able to handle and withstand soft tissue work, like a massage or acupuncture. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do acupuncture. That freaks me out. Like, I have where I draw my lines, and apparently that was it. But I am happy to say that I have now finally been able to get in, and I've gotten 2 therapeutic massages. And the last one I did, I had no idea we were doing it. But have you guys ever had cupping done? I was like, what? Like, all of a sudden I just hear this on my arm, and I was like, what is going on? I think all of my marks are gone now. And it doesn't hurt, for anyone who's curious. I don't know how it works, but it helped. And then she said to me, I'm not sure that all of these are actually knots in your arm. And I go, okay, I'll bite. What are they? She's like, I think that you have tissue deposits. Now, I was so like thrown off from the fact that some of these are not knots. And I'm like, so now I need to find out exactly what that means, because I was so like, I feel like I was too stunned to speak when she told me that. I was like, what? And I still have some smaller ones in my forearm, and they are still quite uncomfortable. And if my husband like tries to put any kind of pressure on them or work on them, they do hurt. But I've gotten to the point now where like I feel like I'm starting to get like range of motion back. I can move my arm. I can do a lot more things, and I'm super, super grateful. But it has taken me, a month and a half plus to get to this point. So all of those, oh, I'm going to have all the time in the world when my kiddo starts school moments, like they all went out the window, because I had the time, but I didn't have the function. I didn't have the ability. So last week I went over to Erica's house to just hang out, and I was like, I'm going to try to diamond paint. And I brought this kit with me. This is, I don't even think I mentioned this in the beginning. You know what? I know a while ago, I was like, I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. This is a whip and chat, and I never got back to it. Whoop. Don't know what that was. So I'm pretty sure, because we're like, I don't know, 40 minutes into this, you guys already figured out what a whip and chat is, but, my bad. Anyway, so I went to her house last week, and I was diamond painting at her dining room table, and she was working on her diamond painting as well as some of her event stuff. And then all of a sudden I started getting these like Charlie horses in my rib cage, and I was like, maybe it's because my body's not used to leaning over and working. So I am here, and I am diamond painting currently, and I'm going to try to ease myself into this, and not be like, oh, my kid's at school, I'm in diamond paint for hours, because I don't need to deal with more injuries while I'm already still in pain. I've also come to the conclusion, like, this is kind of like what life is like for me now. I kind of just swap one thing for another. Like, if something's bothering me, then soon enough something else is going to be bothering me. I'm going to somehow live in this vicious cycle of constantly being in pain and hurting myself, and just, I think part of it is the age, part of it is, I don't treat my body like a temple or anything like that. But yeah, so I've been dealing with that, and this is the first time I'm actually crafting in my craft room since maybe July. I want to say July. So I'm here. Hi. I've also just gotten to the point where um I our healthcare system is designed to make people who look like me feel like um that's the reason for everything. The size of my body has nothing to do with me injuring myself. Um and I don't currently have a primary doctor to speak to. That's a different story. But a big part of that is because the last doctor that I went to blamed my weight on everything. Because I went in for chronic ear infections. So I didn't really want to go try to follow up with a primary care doctor about what's going on. I was like, like, yeah, he's a doctor, but he probably doesn't know the inner workings of like my muscles and my bones and my skeletal system the same way my chiropractic team does. And so I'm really, 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 really thankful. And I'm trying to take things a little bit slow because I don't want to re-injure myself. And I am definitely nowhere near back to what I was. But I'm super, super grateful that I am now at a point where I can, do things again. So, and then fast forward, my kid started school. And I thought, oh, this will be so good. She'll be in school. I have all the time in the world. But what I didn't think is that while I am able to, go to the market without my kid attached to my hip, I'm still running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I have a child who is in your youth sports. If you are in that world, you have options to eat dinner at like 4 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. Like it just sucks. And we had to shift around our ice skating schedule. We skate 3+ days a week. My daughter has just started adding in, not lessons, but taking ice time in the morning before school. Again, not every day, but enough that. So my husband has a shift that he works at 7 a.m. some days. And so I said, well, why don't we try it on a day that daddy has to be at work super early? We can all get up and utilize that time. Now, we've done it 2 or 3 times. Like I said, this is not anything set in stone for her. But morning ice time is a lot different than late afternoon ice time, because the afternoon, everybody that is got a kid in school, they're all coming to the rink as soon as school is over. And well, there's a lot more people on the ice. And in the morning, there's like 3 people there. So we were actually going to go this morning. But she told me last night, and as I told her to let me know, she didn't feel like she was up to it. She stayed up till like 10 o'clock the night before. So I figured she was probably really tired. And, most little kids don't say, all right, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed early. They just are a mess. They're like, if you've ever had to deal with a very, very, very tired child, they're like tiny little drunks. They have no idea what's going on. They argue with you. They're sloppy. Sometimes they fall. And so I was really appreciative that my child was able to, communicate that with me. Did I just put that on the wrong? I did. So my kiddo has been in school. School's been going pretty well. We have a meeting with the team to see how her accommodations are working for her or not working for her. I have some points I want to bring up. I keep getting written off as like, oh, it's totally normal and age appropriate. But my daughter, I feel like she struggles with learning to read more than she should. And last year, I was told, like, this is normal for kids in kindergarten, and in preschool, I was told the same thing. But the thing is, I'm not an expert on children. I'm not an expert on early education. But I know my kid, and I see the way the frustration, like, manifests with her, and I don't feel like that in itself is normal. So I'm going to bring it up, and I'm sure I'm going to be told again, they all learn at a different pace and blah, blah, blah. But a prime example is every time my daughter is working on letters, she asks me every single time, is that a B or a D, mommy? And I have to ask her, what do you think it is? And sometimes she's like, I just don't know. Or she gets mad. The other thing is she doesn't want to put in the effort to actually like sound words out and try to read. She wants everything to be a sight word. And my husband and we had this conversation with her because we let her know, like, as adults, we still have words that like we've never seen or we don't know how they're said. And not everything is a sight word when you're a grown up either. And she's like, what? She doesn't really believe me on that still, but we're working on that. So I'm curious to see if her teacher, feels the same way that I do on certain things. But we also had our first heartbreak of her life, and it was so devastating. So the very first day of school, it was really cute. My daughter was outside, and the superintendent was there. There are 4 elementary schools in our school district. Everybody goes to the same school for kindergarten. They all go to one school, and then after kindergarten, they separate you. If you are a walker, that's where you will go. And then after that, they just kind of put you where you have space. So I have friends who live in like developments where their neighbors go to a different school than their kid does, which I think is so weird. But so we're sitting there and the superintendent's there and he's talking to this little girl, and we're on the other side of the wall and he's asking her what grade she's in. And she said she was new to the area. And I heard her say she's going to be in first grade. And I hear her say her teacher is the same as my kiddo's teacher. And I am just sitting there like giddy with excitement because like, oh my God, look, it's a little friend for my daughter, like, oh, you guys are in class together. And so as soon as he walked away, I came around the corner with my daughter and I introduced her and I said, oh, you guys are in class together. And I introduced my kid because she was just kind of staring at me. And from that point on, they were inseparable. Every single day, they played together on the playground during recess. They sat together at lunch. They would hang out in the morning before the doors are open, or if they have more, like when they have morning recess before school starts, they would play together. And it just like warmed my heart. These two were thick as thieves, bestest of friends. So the one day, there is no way that I have enough of this color. By the way, whatever color I said I was worried about, I had enough of that one. And honestly, so I did reach out to Orloa, by the way, and I let them know, like, hey, I've run out of a color. And then I had to send a follow-up because I don't know if my message got lost in like spam or what, but I never got a response back. Or at least I didn't find it. And so I messaged them again and they, I think they asked me for my order number or something to confirm. And I was like, you know what? I have a sneaking suspicion that I might run out of another color. So I held off. So I haven't even responded back to that because I do want to wait. I would not do this with some other companies, but I do want to wait until I'm done to see if there's more than one color that I'm missing. And honestly, I'll probably just look at my stash first because I don't know. I don't know. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to wait for a really long time. Anyway, so the 2 girls, every single morning, the little girl, she was living with her aunt, and her aunt would drop her off. And as soon as she would see my daughter, like walking up, because we walk to school, occasionally we drive to school based on like the weather, or if I have to take my husband to work first. And she would come running out every single morning, and then the 2 of them would go, off and hang out and all that stuff. So the one day I dropped her off and I start walking back to my car and I hear, Briar's mom, Briar's mom. And I turn around and I see this little girl's aunt and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, so I wanted to tell you that this is her last day. And she doesn't know that. And I was I was so heartbroken for my kid, because how do you tell her that her absolute best friend in the whole wide world is not coming back to school anymore, and that she's moving away and to a different state? And um we took her to get some ice cream after school that day, and had to give her the news. Now, maybe I misunderstood, or maybe the aunt changed her mind, but the little girl was at school the next day, and by then the family had let the school know, like, she will not be returning, and she's moving out of state with another relative. And my daughter was like, am I ever going to see her again? Are we still going to be friends? Am I going to be able to talk to her? All the things that you would think of. And of course, like, my mom heart is breaking, because I don't want my kid to be sad. And I'm under the impression that maybe this other kiddo didn't have the absolute best home life. And her aunt was telling me that it was supposed to be a temporary situation, that she was with her, but it turned out to be much, much longer than expected. And she's now going to go live with her grandmother out of state. And I was like, oh, okay. So I made sure I asked, and I gave her my information. And I said, once you know where, like, her address and, like, that she'll be settled, if you could give that to me, if you could share that with me, we would be really appreciative. I thought my daughter would really enjoy, like, sending letters or pictures or postcards or whatever. And this little girl has a birthday coming up this month. And we had already discussed, like, her giving her a gift before the little girl moved away. Which my daughter she's so sweet. She's like, we can give her a gift. And I said, yeah. And she goes, even if she doesn't have a birthday party? And I'm like, yeah, baby girl. If you want to get your friend a gift for her birthday, we can absolutely do that. So we actually went to the store and picked out all of our stuff. And she got a craft project. The little girl has butterflies all over her backpack, and it's a craft project with butterflies. And then the like small Barbies that are like this big. I'm not a Barbie person. I have my own thoughts on them, but I don't buy them for my daughter. But a lot of her friends request Barbies as gifts. And we found this little 2-pack of these smaller Barbies, and it says best friends, and one looks like my daughter and one looks like her friend. And it was just like, I feel like it was meant to be. And then she picked out a little squishmallow. So we're gonna send all of this off to her friend. And I hope and pray that we hear back from her. Even if it's just something as little as, like, the girls send each other things they've colored in the mail, kind of thing. And I know, like, realistically, the chances of her keeping in contact with this little girl for the rest of her, life is very slim to none. But I don't know the family. And I don't know if they will be... I did ask the aunt if it was okay if I sent her a gift for her birthday, and she never really answered that. And I'm hoping that they're not upset with us for sending a gift. And I know, like, why would somebody be upset? Well, I don't know their situation, and I don't want to make them feel bad if we're giving this girl a gift and maybe they can't do the same for her. So I just try to be aware of those kinds of things. And I let my daughter know, like, we'll send it and we'll do our part, and we'll make sure that we leave all of our information in the package and the envelope and all that, so that her family knows how to contact us back if they choose to. But we can't decide for them if they respond back. So fingers crossed, you guys, because she's already super sad that her friend is gone. But she's loving school. which is wonderful. My daughter has always loved school, and I've been very blessed with that because I know that's not the same for every kid. She seems to have a good little group of friends at school, which is great. Let's talk birthday parties real quick. I need your guys' opinion. Whether you are somebody who has small children, or you've raised small children, or you have never had children, but you have siblings. So if you have a birthday invitation to somewhere, a trampoline park, a bowling alley, somewhere like that, not somebody's house, or if you have a party at the park or whatever, and you invite them and they have siblings, are they bringing the siblings? My husband and I had a conversation about this, and we differ on this. And I said to him, I'm telling you that some of these people are automatically going to bring their other kids to a birthday party just because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've been to birthday parties with my daughter where people brought their siblings that didn't seem like they let the parents know, like, oh, hey, so-and-so's older brother's going to be there, you know, but it makes a huge difference of what we can do and what we can afford. And I don't mean like, oh, we can't afford to have a birthday party. But let me just say this. If you have a birthday party, Michael's, for example, I'm not doing a Michael's birthday party because it is for only like for 8 kids or something like that. But then every additional child is an upcharge. I get it. It makes sense. But if I look into her, one friend has 2 little sisters, one has a younger brother, one has 3 younger siblings, one has 2 other siblings. If I start inviting these kids that she wants to have and they have other siblings and the parents decide to bring them, then I can only invite like 2 of her friends. And I don't know how to invite people and go, hey, by the way, it's just for this kid. Can't bring your other siblings. But I also don't want to, I don't want to be rude. We have not had a birthday party for my child since she was 2. Her birthday is around Thanksgiving, and then COVID happened. So it's never really like a very convenient time of year. But we were talking about like maybe going to a bowling alley. I had thought, oh, a birthday party at the movie theater would be nice. They no longer do them there. But everything is for such a small amount. And then every additional kid, when you're adding in 10 extra kids at $15, $20, $25 a pop, like that adds up super, super quick. And we found out, our classroom policy, I guess, is if you're going to only invite some of the kids, you have to contact the parents outside of school. So when we went to back to school night, they asked us all for consent to be in a parent directory. Now, mind you, this was the beginning of the school year. It is October now. And I said, fine, like, if somebody wants to have a play date with my kid or invite her to her birthday party, like, I am fine. I don't love that they have my home address, but if they didn't give us the option for email, which I'm like, why wouldn't you do phone number and email? That's what I would do. But anyway, super long story short, we still don't have this directory. My kid's birthday is next month, and I'm over here freaking out a little bit because I'd like to be able to invite her friends to a birthday party, but I have to figure out if I have to invite her whole class or not, because here are your options. You can send an invitation into the teacher if they're inviting all of the girls or all of the boys or the entire class. Well, there's definitely some girls that she has no interest in inviting, and there's some boys that she definitely has interest in inviting. So I'm at that point now where I'm like, then I need to find something that we can do where she can invite the entire class. I know the entire class is not all going to come. I'm not naive to that. But I also don't want to go to a place that can only hold 12 kids and then 20 kids show up to this birthday party. So let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on that, or how to handle that, or how to address it, or like if I'm overthinking it. I'm hoping that parents would reach out if they were going to bring an additional child. But the other thing that sucks is since I don't have any contact information for like not a single parent in my kid's class, is that if I send invitations out and the parents don't RSVP, I have no way to like follow through and be like, hey, I need a final head count. Were you guys planning on coming? Or like, I don't have that. So, but I now realize that I've hit my hour mark. You guys, I am going to try my very best to get back into doing regular whip and chats. Again, I'm not making any promises. I'm going to do the best that I can. I need to do what's best for me, both physically and mentally. My mental health has been in the garbage. I've been dealing with a ton of stress. I've been feeling very useless as a wife and a mother because I don't have functionality. And then that's made me spiral and feel terrible about some other things. But that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you made it all the way to the end, leave me some bowling emojis. I assume they're out there. I don't know. Be creative. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys enjoyed this and you'd like to see more videos like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come the Sparkle Squad, and while you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping or like right now at school. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!